Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. My name is Ginger. Welcome to the book club series, part of this channel where we read a book by a Black author every single month and we review pages of that book every single week. By the end of the month, we review it its entirety. Okay, so welcome back. I know we're in September and I just went missing for August, so I deeply apologize for that, guys. I feel like every month I'm issuing an apology because I am. So that just means that I just need to get better. So thank you for those who are still with me with this book club. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all patience, okay? And just know I will be getting it together. I recently accumulated more time in my life, so you should see a little bit more dedication, okay? So with that being said, you know we're wrapping up the book of August, and Instruction for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. She is the bomb. She did the bomb with this book. She restored my faith in love a lot more. I mean, who are we kidding? So with all of that being said, let's get into it. There's this teenage girl named Imovie. She's 17 years old. Right when the book begins, we're informed that her parents are divorced, and she's very hurt by this. It completely destroys her perception of love. Her sister is the only one that's clueless about the exact thing that happened that caused the divorce, which is cheating. Her dad ended up cheating on her mom. So with all of that being said, Imovie is completely she's anti-love at this point. What's the point of love if it's gonna end up going to shit, right? And I completely identify with her. Fast forward, she is a big reader. She's into books, and she had a whole book collection, and her favorite novels were romance novels. So because of the divorce, she got rid of all the romance books, and she, you know, went to this free library and bumped into this mysterious old lady that she gave her a book in exchange for all the books that she was giving away, and it was called Instructions for Dancing. And on the book it says, return to this address. And the address ended up being a dance studio. So this leads to, now she discovers that she has this superpower after meeting this lady, that anytime she witnesses a couple kiss, she can see the entire relationship of how they met up until how it ends. So now she's in this weird space where she doesn't know why she's getting these powers. So she's just in a wreck. She has a 3-friend group where it consists of 1 male, 2 females, Sophie, Casey, and Martin. Martin plays an important role in this book for her because he's almost like her psychiatrist, you know? And it's funny because his mom in the book we were informed that she's a psychiatrist. So that's the role that he kind of plays for her, because he's the only one that trusts, you know, with this information, with this newfound powers, and she feels like the other 2 friends will be judgmental, so they have no clue. So with all of that being said, I see already how this title come about. I already see the plot. I see that, you know, especially when she visits the dance studio, she bumps into this guy named X, short for Xavier. He's an aspiring rock star. You know, he looks hot, he's tall, dreads. And you know, they eventually end up falling in love. I love the dialogue. You know, they're having little awkward moments, but clearly it's like the spark of love waiting to bloom. And she's just like, you know, well, just because I laughed at his jokes doesn't mean like this is a beginning of a love story, because it's not. And she kind of reminds me of, in a sense, because I kind of have the same outlook on love, and I kind of give a tough time, but only because, like, is it worth the heartbreak? Is it worth, you know, falling in love and being vulnerable and knowing that somebody's gonna finna play with you? And I ain't finna be played. You hear me? So, but then it's like, can't wish for love, and I wish for this life of like having a husband and having a whole bunch of kids and us having businesses together and us, like, you know, this whole life that I have, you know, this whole fantasy that I have about love. But then on the other hand, love requires vulnerability, and if you ain't finna be vulnerable, you ain't finna fall in love. but eventually somebody will catch you slipping and you're gonna fall. So I kind of get this, you know, I get Evie. You know what I'm saying? I feel you, girl. I get it. Why fall in love if it's gonna end up in disaster? If it's gonna end eventually, right? So of course we're taking on this journey of her meets ex at the dance studio, and then the dance instructor there tells both of them that they need to enter this competition. It's particularly for amateurs, and you know, ex is the complete opposite. He's very hopeful, he's nice, he's a gentleman, he's sweet, he's very optimistic about life, you know, aspiring rock star, dreamer. And you know, they slowly but surely, you know, hit it off. You know, there's only so much you can resist when you have to dance with a fine man every day. You know what I'm saying? So then that kind of goes along. I felt like this book was a tad bit of a drag, which kind of made me feel like this book is more appropriate for maybe like teenagers. This is very reminiscent of like your first love, you know, which is so cute. But fast forward, one of my favorite scenes in this book was when she was at the park and she was talking to her friend Martin, and she sees different couples and she sees all their relationships beginning to end. She's describing all of them back to back to back to back. And I remember specifically she was saying, you know, well, even though these people don't, you know, most of them have tragic endings, you know, the only thing that matters is now. She noticed that they were smiling in the park, they were having a good time, and it kind of lit a light bulb in my head, and it made me realize, you know, when I have my emo moments when it comes to love, or when I find myself being very harsh, nice guys that seem really, really interested, that, you know, it's very important to be present. And love is always worth it. There's no life without love, you know? And the love that we all look for, how can you find it if you don't take that leap of faith, you know? Any situation that involves, you know, any type of, especially a committed or like a deeper level, a deeper connection or a deeper level of love requires you to jump. And if you don't jump, then, you know, you're gonna find yourself in a very dark place, honey. So, you know, I just like that moment she had kind of like an epiphany, like, you know, everything was gonna end eventually, whether it's through death, betrayal, whatever the case may be. But it's in the moment is what matters. It's like almost like the journey of it all is the most important part, rather than like the end, you know. And that was one of my favorite scenes, and that was like a reminder that I needed at this particular time of my life. Like, girl, just live in the moment. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If it does, you know, you had a good ass time. That's another story, you know, for your great grandkids and your kids, and you know, maybe like 1 or 2 friends that you trust with your business. So fast forward, obviously they fall in love. Come to find out, the 2 girls in the friend group, they fall in love. That was like another discovery, another love story. She sees how that ends. She gets devastated because of how that also is gonna affect all of their relationship in their friend group. Then it came to a point where she's seen her future with her and ex. And this was at the dance competition when they finally kissed. And baby, this part of the book had me a little shook, because come to find out, I'm missing a big part. Before that, she had seen ex, her love interest, grandparents is the one that owns the dance studio. And they're like the main dancers. They're like the epitome of like dance, you know? And they seem like a very loving couple. They've been together for a very long time, and she's seen a vision of them when they had kissed, and it was like of a casket lowering down to the ground. So she had the idea that, you know, like they were gonna eventually die, but come to find out, that casket that they seen going down to the ground was ex. And fast forward, she connected the dots when her and ex finally kissed, and she, you know, her vision came to her. It was almost like a That's So Raven moment. Like when you picture this character in the book, you picture her as like That's a Raven. You know, that's like that's the closest reference I could, you know, give you when it comes to this character Evie. And yeah, and she sees the ending of them. She sees that they have a beautiful relationship, and then out of nowhere he dies. She knows like he's gonna die in 10 months, but the only thing that's eating her up is that she doesn't know how she's gonna die, and she doesn't know exactly like the day, but she knows it's going to be in 10 months. I guess because of the season, because she's seen like a snowfall, something of that sort, right? And man, this just stops Evie in her tracks. And this part also had me a little bit emotional, because like imagine like you fall in love and it's all blissful, then all of a sudden your partner dies. Like, God, that's actually one of my biggest fears. Like, you know, I finally fall in love after so many after a long time, so many years, and you gonna just take my man, my life partner, the love of my life, away from me? God, how dare you? Then what's the point? You know, and she does have this moment where she stops talking to him for a month, and you know, and this obviously hurts his heart. And then eventually at the end of the book, you know, she had this epiphany like, well, I can sit here and be sad forever, or I can just enjoy the time that I have with him until that time comes. And that's exactly what she does. It's beautiful, it's emotional, and it's amazing, and it's an amazing life lesson. You know, it's an amazing life lesson where you just need to learn to let go and fall in love with the journey of love. You know, as much as we try to control things, as much as we try to avoid things, these things are just inevitable. Like, these things are going to happen. There's no amount of preparation to live a life that, you know, on eggshells and think you're not going to eventually crack or eventually fall or eventually, you know, get hurt. You know, that's just a part of life. And it's absolutely worth it. You know, you got to think about some of the best memories that you have in your life. It's always before tragedy happens. But it's worth it because you get to live, you get to experience, you learn from it, you grow from it, you discover more of yourself, more of your purpose, because that's all we have, right? So with that being said, this was an amazing read. I strongly recommend this, you know, to the younger crowd. I think this book, anybody would enjoy this book, but I really, really, really think the younger crowd would definitely enjoy this. It's very cute. It was a very, very cute read. Came right on time in my life, you know, giving me the little that I needed, the little extra faith, you know what I'm saying, that I needed in love, and just kind of a reminder of like just living more in the moment, and not be too concerned how things could turn out, especially if it's like for the worst. You know, it's like, okay, and that's with anything, you know, if it turns out for the worse or the better, at least you got to experience something, you know. Hey, it's future me. I don't know what happened to the rest of this video, but I'm here to finish it. So with that being said, guys, it was a wonderful read. I enjoyed this read so much. Nicola is an amazing author. And yeah, so the book that we're going to be reading for the month of September, I'll let you guys know later on this week. And that's about it. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video, okay? Peace.